Wow. I hope Ava and our rep can get this one across the deal line. Let's keep the Vivint Next program rolling. Now, the term sales tech mayhem was coined in 2023 by our next guest. And I bet today is more like AI sales tech mayhem. So I wonder what Craig Rosenberg, former Gartner and Topo analyst and now chief platform officer at Scale Ventures, has to say about AI in sales. He helps SaaS companies turn go-to-market chaos into repeatable growth. Hey, Craig, how we doing?
I'm doing great, buddy. It's good to see you.
At Scale, you advise portfolio companies on moving from founder-led growth to a repeatable go-to-market strategy. How does AI and the sales tech proliferation complicate or accelerate that transition?
Ooh, man, I love that question. Well, it's interesting time, right? Like, I have, it expedites things because I mean, you have all of these factors coming together. One of them is like growth is always number one, but efficient growth is like, sort of right behind you. And so you have to be able to, you can't just solve things by hiring. You have to be able to do things. The other thing is, well, that's one. And so it's like, some people may not believe this, but AI allows you to do that. The other thing is I have all of these role models of these founders that have, come on and they have built teams. Like one of them had 37 people in the go-to-market org. Now they have 5 and they're doing 50% more. Because, when you really dig in and figure out, the things that you can go do and wipe away a lot of the mundane or the things we always wanted people to do to be better, right? For example, you guys are helping salespeople spend the right time with using their brain power with real information that they'd never had before to be more effective. Those things matter because you have to be able to do everything really well with a smaller number of people. And so people are doing that. The other thing, though, is just really we're able to instead like take something like things, that you needed a year, maybe 9 months in a startup of tribal knowledge for. And, an AI agent that's been set up, let's say by my team, just like, hey, you guys need to be able to do this. Just use this, right? Those things make a big difference in terms of speed to next step. Because as you said, I'm trying to get them from founder led or call it 1 or 2 sales reps to 5. But then once you hit 5, man, you got to get to 10 to 12, right? And getting there, I'm just using that as a proxy, but like, getting to that point, you have to get there faster. You can't just get there well, you have to get there faster. And so I am like 100% down with AI. I love watching the haters try to push back on it. And it's like, but by the way, you and I have been around for a while in this space. I'm pretty sure it's the same haters that hated the go-to-market tech transformation you and I were involved with, call it 6 years ago. They were also complaining about it. But yeah, man, it's a key part of our strategy. I have someone devoted just to looking at go-to-market AI and the, vendors like you and the builds you can do in order to make people better and faster. And it's just been mind-blowing, honestly, mind-blowing.
Now, Craig, from your Gartner days, you know better than most how CROs evaluate tech stack. What's the one evaluation lens leaders should apply to AI sales tools to avoid getting burned?
Yeah, well, I think we get burned when we buy into the value props without looking inward. And like, I mean, this is probably that I'm going to make the same recommendation you've probably made 7 to 15 years ago, which is the first thing you do is you figure out how you work. That is the number one thing. And in the case of, let's say, sales, we're talking about sales, you figure out the sales process, or even better, you look at the entire revenue process, and then you look at the rep, because you have this like one person who should be worth between $750,000 and $3 million a year, right? I'm just the top I made up just to be unrealistically realistic. But And then you have to figure out, well, how do they work? And then you say, okay, like, if so, can we automate it? And if we can, will that be better than what they do and or faster? And if so, then let's look into either investing or, building or whatever. So like, by the way, I talked to sneakily, they're probably not allowed to tell us this, but all our old buddies from Gartner, and they're like, when we look at AI implementations at work, that is how they do it, right? Is they look at how they work first. And that's the mistake because, I'm seeing this now where people are making the purchases like, that sounds amazing. And, if you take, the AI sales agent, look, if you don't know what wins, the AI is not necessarily going to help you figure out what wins. It's there to make you be able to be faster and better, but you have to figure that out first. And that's often the problem. So you look at some of the AI apps that have they went right to the trough of disillusionment is because the value prop ran way ahead of the actual execution. That doesn't mean that it's not valuable. It's just that, once again, we have to pull back and we have to say, okay, well, how do we work? How do we want to work? And what can we do better about it? And then when you do, you can make real decisions. And so our buddy Dan Gottlieb was like, oh, I know someone's going to make a good decision when they say, instead of, well, we want to do AI, they say, I want to do QBRs using these 4 data points and create a 6-page deck. Now we're talking. Now you know how you work, and now you know how AI can go help you. That's the key. Otherwise, you will be disappointed.
So, Craig, as an investor and a platform leader, what signals do you look for to identify an AI sales vendor with staying power versus an AI sales vendor riding hype?
Oh man, that's not fair. I've been wrong about that for so long. No, I mean, look, I know I've been looking at it for a long time. I think right now, we're, you guys are tracking the market. I'm getting people coming to me. It's what, 10 to 15 companies coming to market every week, I think, because right now software is really easy to make. And so, like I always say, that 4 kids in Brooklyn are making something akin to what you do. I think the key is, what's the moat? Part of the issue right now when you're creating AI software is those 4 kids from Brooklyn can disrupt you 6 months after you come to market and feel really good. You're constantly going to have to watch your back, and if you don't have real tech, you're probably going to get caught. There's like in the sales tech revolution you and I were part of years ago. There were go-to-market founders going, oh yeah, and then there's tech to do it because the idea, and it was SaaS, it was about the UI, and there was some execution. Now it's not the case. AI is a real thing that you have to have that unique ability to deliver on that promise. So that's hard to suss out, but that's something I look for personally. The big one I'm looking for is right now. I believe right now in AI, we've really done a good job with the productivity side. Oh my God, I'm so much more productive. Everyone, and if you look at the data, that's, people believe that they are more productive. The next step is, can we move real metric needles? Higher conversion rates, or in marketing's case, I mean, shoot, man, they're looking down the barrel right now because marketing conversion rates have fallen and CAC is way up, right? So, yeah, man. So the next phase of AI is when we start moving needles, and so who's got, right now I'm okay with someone having a good story. You just gotta give me something really compelling here that's actually going to move the needle, because I feel like people are feeling pretty good right now about how they can make either reps or their marketing people more productive. So productivity's here. Now we got to take that productivity base and start moving needles. And that's, I'm looking for the stories that make sense there. So
now, Craig, you said RevTech markets tend to cycle between proliferation and consolidation. Where are we right now? And how should both buyers and investors prepare?
I don't know how to prepare for this one. This is proliferation at a scale I've not seen. You have so many $5 to $10 million companies that are feeling pretty good about themselves out there too. I just don't know that we've locked in as a market. This isn't the vendor's fault. Like the vendors have to come to market. Like guys, like you put this stuff in play, right, with your version of the use case, and then the buyers start to tell you what the use case is. And then the key when this thing expands is when they tell their friends. Once that happens, then categories start to take off. And we're still in the phase where everyone's throwing things against the wall. We still haven't hit, like, take marketing. Marketing still has not hit we're going to be able to fully run a campaign and get you a 5% higher conversion rate. We're not there yet. So like you're going to see more proliferation until we figure these things out. You're in a space where, I mean, everyone is trying to get in on that because AI makes so much sense. Oh Lord, it makes so much sense, right? And but there's a lot playing in there. So I'm actually, and by the way, I get your take. It's not clear how the consolidation phase will work here. There might be more death and destruction than there will be. I mean, the big guys are going to have to roll people up. That there's no doubt about it, right? Because they have to catch up on AI, and they got to catch up fast. So if there's folks in the go-to-market tech space that are past the $100 million mark, they got to get out their stock or checkbook or get a PE firm because they're going to have to roll people up. Now, there's so many of them that you're playing. That's like a roulette wheel right now. And so I think we're not there yet because, like I said, the use cases, the market's version of the use cases are still emerging. And we just need that point where the CRO goes to the other CRO or goes to a meeting and go, this is what we need to do, and here's the vendors that you use for it. We're still sort of, everyone's got all these different vendors and trying all these things. There's a lot of failures out there because of what we discussed before, which is not pinpointing the problem you're trying to solve. And so, yeah, man, I think we're still in mass proliferation phase. We're not even close.
All right, Craig, last question. Put your transaction podcast hat on. What's the most surprising or contrarian take you've heard recently about AI and go-to-market that you actually agree with?
Well, I think the contrarian take, what I would say is the contrarian take is wrong, but the intent is right. Because the contrarian take is being more human is the differentiator. They are correct about that. Poo-pooing AI is a single use case minded point of view. What they're reacting to is having the AI do everything. What they're not understanding is AI is the ultimate assistant. It is the ultimate enabler to allow people to be more human because being human was hard. And it's like, it was always the thought leaders always had more time to be like, personalize, get out there. Like, here's this story of this. And it's like, dude, you're not a rep doing 20 demos a week. And now, so I keep saying, no, it's really hard. I have to talk them through it. Like, no, you are right. But what I'm saying is AI actually enables that. And what you're too focused on is the automation of everything, where we're not there yet, of course. And if the human differentiation is everything, then let's clear the path to allow people to be more human and to be more personalized and relevant. And that's what AI does today. So I'd say they always try and get me on that, and they're wrong, but they're right. Does that make sense?